Imagine arriving at your private lake only to find your dock, decades of sweat and memories, demolished by HOA Karen. Furious, you discover that every inch of the lake is legally yours. Within minutes, you unleash the floodgates, watching $15 million of her lakefront empire disappear. Karen called herself powerful. Tonight, she learns who really controls the water. Full extended story, 2,700 words, part 1 of 2 for full 5K. The sun had just begun to pierce through the early morning mist, casting shimmering golden rays across the lake. For decades, this body of water had been the heart of my family's land, a legacy carefully preserved from one generation to the next. The dock, stretching elegantly into the water, was not just wood and nails. It was decades of sweat, memories of summer evenings, laughter, and quiet reflection. That morning, peace was shattered. My ranch hand, Luis, burst onto the porch, face pale. "Boss, Karen Barnes is here. She's tearing down the dock. Contractors, hammers, it's gone." I felt a chill as the words sank in. Karen, the self-appointed queen of the HOA, had always taken pleasure in exerting control. No rule too small, no property too sacred, and she had clearly decided my dock was a challenge to her authority. I raced down to the lake, my boots splashing through the damp grass. Before me lay a scene of destruction, wooden planks floating, broken and splintered, nails protruding from shattered beams, the pillars of my dock collapsing into the shimmering water. Karen stood at the edge of the shore, clipboard raised, her pastel blazer immaculately clean, a smug grin plastered across her face. Her son filmed the chaos, laughing at the sight. "You ignored HOA regulations," Karen barked, voice sharp with authority. "This is for the safety and order of the community." I said nothing, because words were futile. Instead, I turned toward the small, camouflaged shed behind the trees. The dam control room. It was a relic from my grandfather, a secret mechanism built to control the entire lake. Karen had no idea it existed. Her voice pierced the air. "You can't! That's illegal! Stop!" I stopped, hand on the lever, calm but deadly. "Funny thing about legality, Karen. You destroyed what was mine. I'm just restoring balance." Pulling the lever, the floodgates groaned open. Water surged like a living beast, rushing through channels I had meticulously maintained for years. It sped toward Karen's lakefront mansions. Foundations cracked. Lawns disappeared beneath the advancing torrent. Docks were torn apart as if by a hurricane. The $15 million paradise she had so arrogantly flaunted was disappearing before our eyes. Neighbors screamed and ran to higher ground, capturing every second of the unfolding disaster. Karen's shriek was high-pitched, full of disbelief and terror. "Stop! Stop this! You'll pay!" I smirked. "I've already paid for it. With patience." I activated the secondary gates, releasing a controlled surge that directed water into the areas of her remaining homes that were still standing. Foundations crumbled, roofs caved, and luxury docks disintegrated. Within minutes, the majority of her lakefront estate was submerged. The water gleamed in the golden hour light, reflecting both my calm authority and the chaos I had orchestrated. The sheriff finally arrived, sirens blaring, but by then, it was only a formality. I had the paperwork, property deeds, and legal permits in hand. Every inch of that lake was mine, and my ownership was airtight. Karen and her HOA had assumed authority where none existed. Their overreach had triggered the perfect response. I stepped onto a higher part of the dock, looking down at the submerged homes. "Luis, make sure no one tampers with anything while we rebuild." He nodded. "Sir, what about Karen?" I chuckled. Let her swim in her mistakes. Hours passed. The water gradually receded, leaving behind a surreal scene of devastation. Streets that had been manicured and perfect were now rivers of mud and debris. Broken wood, furniture, and household items floated aimlessly, a testament to the consequences of arrogance. Karen finally approached, soaked and humiliated. This is revenge. Not revenge, justice. Simple cause and effect. You broke what was mine. I corrected the balance. Her son kept filming, but the smirk had vanished. The realization of their vulnerability had replaced it. Even her contractors, who had once carried hammers with pride, now glanced nervously at the rising waters, understanding too late that they had been pawns in someone else's game. By sunset, the lake returned to its serene, golden reflection. My dock was untouched, standing taller and stronger than ever, a symbol of resilience and rightful ownership. Karen's $15 million lakefront paradise lay beneath water and mud, a lesson etched in every splinter and stone. The news spread quickly. Social media exploded with video clips of the flood and Karen's futile attempts to assert control. The local HOA network buzzed with gossip and outrage. Yet amidst all the chaos, one message was clear. Property, respect, and rightful ownership are not to be trifled with. Karen's attempted control had been an invitation for complete loss, and she accepted it unwittingly. As I stood on my dock one last time that evening, the golden rays of the sun glinting on the water, I felt a sense of quiet satisfaction. The lake was mine, the dock was mine, and justice, swift, dramatic, and inevitable, had been served. Luis, still beside me, grinned. Think she'll ever come back? I shook my head. She'll remember today, and she'll never forget it. That's enough. And with that, the lake returned to its calm serenity, a perfect mirror of the sky, a monument to ownership, authority, and the consequences of arrogance. The story of Karen's arrogance, the demolished dock, and the flooded lakefront homes would echo for years in the HOA community. Videos went viral, neighbors whispered, and the lesson was clear-cut. Challenge what is rightfully mine, and you risk everything. The dock stood firm, the lake sparkled under the sun, and I knew, as I had always known, that the water obeyed only its rightful master. Karen and her $15 million empire had been lessons in humility, authority, and the power of patience.